So my personal interaction with Thor, I have my own petition up right now. It's Stop the Abuse and Misuse of Patent Law by Video Game Developers. It's a change.org petition, and I recognize like change.org petitions aren't like nearly even remotely as effectual as something like an ECI. Unfortunately, there's no mechanism within the United States that I'm aware of that is similar to the ECI that like requires a response from the government, like some sort of governmental response. But I thought, okay, I can start here. I can create this petition that will hopefully get more eyes on the subject, get some big name influencers, get some people with, clout and influence in on it, and then we can use that to roll it into a letter writing campaign, a call your congressman campaign, a some sort of thing like that campaign that can eventually hopefully enact some sort of change. So one of the goals of that was to get some big name influencers on it. I'm not a big name influencer by any means. I don't have nearly that level of influence, that level of clout. So once it started taking off a little bit, once I got like a few thousand signatures, I got like 2,000 signatures, I went on Thor's stream. Now this was back on, I think, May 13th. Yeah, May 13th. This was before Thor's crash out about the Stop Killing Games thing. This was before he had already released his original videos about it back in August. But I wasn't really, keeping much track of that. When I heard it was like a European Citizens Initiative, I kind of like, okay, this isn't really something I can influence, and I wasn't really making content on stuff like that at the time. Most of my content was storytelling videos. At the time, I kind of very ignorantly, admittedly, just saw Thor's video on it, was like, okay, I see what he's saying. Neat, he's an expert, and just kind of went with that, and didn't really look into it to form my own opinion on it, because I wasn't going to talk about it, and it wasn't really something I can affect. So I wasn't really aware of how much he was misrepresenting this stuff to begin with. But on May 13th, I went onto a stream. I put forward a TTS that basically said, hey, I got this. I wonder if you'd be interested in supporting this petition, and you can help me, and if you'd be willing to help work on getting more of the wording right so it fits more what developers are kind of the actual technical speak and developers would want, and et cetera, et cetera. It's a change petition. I get that change petitions aren't that effectual, but, I'm just trying to get more views on this and more eyes on it, so hopefully it can one day be used and snowball into something that can have an actual effect. And he said, yeah, he was interested. So he said, yeah, he was interested. Put in a mod ticket in my Discord server, and I'll look at it.
Run Endgame Entertainment with 500 bits said, would you be interested in joining my change petition to stop game development studios from patenting game mechanics and using it to target indie studios? The petition is taking off, and I said from the start I want to get both an indie developer involved as well as a patent lawyer, to make sure that the petition includes specific and relevant game developer and legal terminology.
Yeah, link it up. Send it over to me through the mod tickets. I think it'd be kind of cool. I'd be interested in knowing, because I hate patenting of game mechanics. That shit sucks. All right.
So, May 13th, I put in a mod ticket. Mod ticket says, I'm sending the change.org petition that was mentioned in my TTS on stream. I would love to get Thor's input, help with the verbiage, and support. I fully recognize that all a change.org petition is hoping that decision makers will listen, but every little bit of pushing for the goal helps, and getting Thor's technical expertise to help with the wording and pushing the message would be awesome. And then a link to the petition. I sent that in at 12:12 p.m. on May 13th. I got a response from his mod at 12:13 on May 13th. Said, great, thank you, passing this on to Thor. I respond, I appreciate it. If he decides he wants to reach out, I'm easily reachable through Discord. So I'm awaiting a response from him. He said he's interested in this. This is a thing that he cares about. He's a technical expertise, and he directly told me to respond to him, or to put in the ticket. Now, with that, if I had put in that TTS on stream, and he had said, and this is part of the reason why I am frustrated by this, why I'm annoyed about this, and I finally decided to talk about it. And I'll go into more later about why I'm even more frustrated at him for this, and why I even think it's kind of more shady or whatever that he did. I put in that TTS fully expecting that TTS might not be played, and that he might say, and I would respect the decision if he said, listen, I get it. This is an issue that you care about, but I don't want to encourage more people to be putting in TTSs and stuff to have me looking at these things. So I'm going to go ahead and say no, just on the merit of I don't want to encourage more people to constantly reach out on me to me on stream to check out their mixtape kind of thing. And I would have been cool with that. I would have fully understood that, because if I was like an influencer that was as big as Thor is, I would probably have that kind of response, or at the very least, like if I was, I would say that and then maybe reach out privately, because I wouldn't want to encourage people to like constantly be reaching out to me and saying, hey, can you check out this thing for me? It'd be super awesome, because that would just become obnoxious. But I figured I'd give it a shot. He responded. went forward with it. I didn't want to be the guy that said that, like, he said, yeah, I'll help you out with this thing, and then just constantly inundated him waiting for an answer. He's a busy dude. He's running a company. He's got stream. He's got all this different stuff. Didn't want to be that guy. So the next day, I do say, good morning. I'm wanting to release an update/update video for the petition before I head out of town for the weekend on Friday, and I was wondering if it's okay with Thor if I mention that he has expressed interest in it. I don't want to if he doesn't want me to, and definitely don't want to mislead anyone by saying he's interested in it if he has decided he no longer is. Haha. I get a pretty quick response, like within 10:41 a.m. I get a response at 11:07 a.m. from the mod. Better wait to mention him. Thank you for asking first. I respond immediately, of course. Because again, like, listen, I'm not going to go out and say, Thor said he's interested in this, and then one, have him turn around and say, I said I'd look at it. And two, like, if he's going to work with me on this, I want to work with him on making sure he's comfortable with the way everything's progressing. 2 weeks later, 16 days later, on May 30th, I message, again, because again, I don't want to inundate him. I don't want to be spamming him with, like, hey, you said you're going to look at this. You said you're going to check out my mixtape, bro. Like, help me out, man. May 30th, I follow up. I said, hey, just following up on if Thor has got the chance to check it out. No rush, obviously, haha. I just got an email back from the EFF, because that was another group that I reached out to see if they'd be willing to work with me on it. A perfunctory one saying they forwarded it to the relevant department, but hoping they may get back to me soon, and figured I'd check in here. Hope all is going well for you. No response. On June 3rd, I hop onto Discord on my phone, and I see that it's entirely blank. And I get a little bit suspicious here. Admittedly, I get a little suspicious, like, why is this blank? Did he just delete everything because he doesn't want the receipts? What? So I responded by saying, hi, I just noticed I'm not seeing the rest of the message change, just this. And I took a screenshot of, like, the fact that it was just completely blank. But the moment I sent that, it repopulated the entire ticket. So I responded again, never mind, typing something seemed to fix this. Fix that, haha, sorry to bother you. But pointing that out just to say, like, there was another point when I pinged them on this. And got no follow-up, no response even from the mod. I kind of like, okay, I don't want to rush him, and I get kind of busy in June. I was pretty busy. So I didn't follow up at all. After the Stop Killing Games stuff happened, after he started getting a lot of this hate for the Stop Killing Games stuff because people started, posting more videos because it was coming close to an end, I message on July 1st. Good morning. It's been a bit, so I just wanted to check again if Thor has had the chance to look at it. But at this point, I'm frustrated by the fact that he hasn't responded, despite the fact that he directly told me to put in the mod ticket. And I kind of been wanting to put out something about the Stop Killing Games stuff. But if I was going to do it, I figured, okay, I could put out, like, hey, he's, against the Stop Killing Games stuff, and I don't agree with him on that, but he is supporting this, so, there is at least something he cares about, kind of thing, or something he's willing to try to do, whatever, kind of thing. But I don't want to not give him the one last chance to respond, because I at least want to say, like, listen, he's busy, he might have forgotten about it, whatever, I'm going to give one more thing. Oddly enough, I post out on July 1st, I get the next morning, I get a message from a different one of his mods that says, I've given a nudge to Thor on this at 11:19 a.m. on July 2nd. Thor responds at 8:39 p.m. on July 2nd with the amount of insane hate I'm receiving for having a take on a political initiative. I don't think it's the right time to throw my weight behind this. I absolutely agree with the messaging and have signed it as a result. I would update with links to those patents if possible. All of that being said, I don't understand why said initiative is asking for donations after signatures. I agree with the fact that him throwing his weight behind this initiative at this point would be negative towards the initiative. If him going on stream and saying, hey, there's this this is a petition, not an initiative. Him going on stream and saying, hey, there's this other thing that you could interest in would probably get it a lot of hate, because look at any of his videos right now and see the amount of hate he's getting, and particularly a video I'm going to be talking about here in a minute, where pretty much every comment was hating on him for it. And this video that he put out also really frustrated me. So I respond, understood, I appreciate the signature. I've specifically tried to state in videos promoting this that I don't want people donating towards it, and to instead donate to the EFF if they feel so inclined. Unfortunately, there's nowhere in the settings or editing of the petition where I can turn off donations. Per your suggestion, I have converted the description to include links to the patents. And then I kind of stopped reaching out to him, because at this point, one of the things that frustrates me about this too is if he had responded within a timely manner, so to speak, when I had initially put it in, or any time within like a month of me putting it in, he would not have been getting as much of the hate, as much of the very, very like constant hate from the Stop Killing Games crowd, and it could have helped this initiative or this petition grow. He waited, and the thing that makes me a little bit shady about this, makes me think it's a little bit shady, one of the many things that make me think it's a little bit shady is that he waited until after he was already getting a lot of hate from this to finally decide it was time to respond. And I think a large part of that was he didn't want me making a video saying, hey, he's also not supporting this campaign, even though he said he would, because it would get him even more hate. So I'm frustrated that he didn't respond in a timely manner to help this petition grow, because I would have liked to have it be a lot further along now and hopefully start making change, or at least have a crowd that I can use to try to start, the ball rolling with messaging congressmen and stuff like that. But he waited until the point where he was already getting a lot of hate, and then he responded to it, in my mind, probably to stop even more controversy from happening. I do fully agree that him putting his weight behind it right now would have been bad. The final follow-up with him was more so just kind of a courtesy thing to at least give one last chance to reply before I made my Stop Killing Games video and either mention that he just outright ignored this, or can say, hey, at least he said he was supporting this kind of thing. It was more so a courtesy. That message, what he replied to me on, was July 2nd. If you follow my channel, you know pretty much all my content lately has been about the Palworld lawsuit. I mean, I have other stuff out, but a large majority of my content, and my most popular content, has been about the Palworld lawsuit and Nintendo stuff. I have other stuff. I have storytelling videos. I have stuff that's not related to Palworld or Nintendo at all, but the most popular stuff is that, and I have a lot of it. And I've done a lot of research about the topic, so I'm fairly well informed. I'm not an expert. I'm not a lawyer anyways, but I am fairly well informed. So July 2nd, he responds to that. He acknowledges that that is a thing. On July 3rd, he posts a members-only video onto his YouTube account that went public on July 4th. That video is titled Nintendo, and it is him in 11 minutes talking about this lawsuit and the video game mechanic patent problem, the problem with patenting video game mechanics, in a very vague way, in a very, unspecific way, which is a problem he has, is with people talking about things unspecifically, does not mention the petition at all. He could even say, hey, I heard about this petition, and not say he's throwing his weight behind it, and not like say I'm supporting this petition, but say, hey, I heard about this petition that's going on, not mentioning me at all, not mentioning the fact that there is someone that has a lot more detail on this in content that is pretty easy to watch and digest, just suddenly caring about this thing, suddenly caring about this patenting video game mechanics and the Nintendo Palworld lawsuit, when previously he had only posted about it like one time. He posted about it on Twitter one time. He didn't even, let me see, I think he shows it in his video. I can't find it, but he posted about it on Twitter one time, and then for all I can tell, never talked about it again, never cared about it again. But all of a sudden, now that I have messaged him about it, and he has finally responded to it, and he's getting all this Stop Killing Games hate, but refuses to throw his weight behind this petition. He still wants to talk about it, doesn't want to, throw any sort of, anything my way, doesn't want to talk about the petition, doesn't want to say, hey, you can check out this guy who's putting a lot of good content on nothing. Just all of a sudden he cares about this. And I was a little bit frustrated by that. But what I was even more frustrated by, because that was very much like, okay, you didn't care about this, I bring it to your attention, all of a sudden you want to talk about it, but you don't want to say, like, hey, there's this guy that, is putting out content about it. Sure, whatever, it's fine. It's fine. A little bit annoying, but I was like, okay, at least, he's talking about it. On my YouTube account, that has the same name as my Discord account. So him and his mods would all recognize the name and the logo. I comment on the video. If your community is interested, I have a petition going forward. If you look up Stop the Abuse of Misuse of Patent Law by Video Game Developers, they can sign it and hopefully get the ball rolling on maybe fixing this issue. That comment was live for a few minutes. That comment did not get auto-modded, because I get a lot of comments on my stuff that, like, if it curses or it has a link or it has, specific words, it gets auto-modded. But that happens immediately. The comment did not get auto-modded. The comment was there for a few minutes, but within a few minutes, the comment was deleted. What that reads to me as is him or his mods saw it. Him or his mods decided that they didn't want to throw any sort of, even allow me to, without him putting his weight behind it, allow me to discuss it in his community to try to get some more weight behind it. it almost feels like he wants to be the one that's taking the stand on this and blah blah blah. Which, listen, if back in May he said, "Hey, I want to put my face behind it," I would have been like, "Oh, that's kind of. I want to be my face to be the one behind it." Like Thor wants his own face to be behind it. I'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of shitty," but I care more about the cause than about the recognition. So let's do it. But now it's just kind of the way he's going about it, the way he's trying to like seemingly use it as a way to recover his image, but doesn't want to throw any sort of like recognition or any sort of like, because that would help. One, that would help the channel grow, which would be awesome for me. But more than that, it would help the petition grow. It would help the cause be furthered. And he seems incredibly loath to do that. And I was incredibly frustrated about it. But yeah, that's my personal interaction with Thor. If you want to check out the petition, you can either Google Stop the Abuse and Misuse of Patent Law by Video Game Developers. It's the change.org petition. It should be like the first one that pops up. I'll post a link. I'll post the link for that in the description along with the Stop Killing Games one, and it might be on the screen somewhere. And if you want to check out some more of my videos on the topic that go into a lot more detail than the very vague amount of detail that Thor decided to put out, despite the fact that he hates lack of specificity, the playlist is going to be over there. Over that way. But anyways, have a good day. This thus ends my saga of critiquing Thor for his Stop Killing Game stuff. Bye.